Hello, everybody.
4, 3, 2, kick it.
I also wanted to talk to you guys. So Wolfenstein 2 came out on Friday, so the same day as Mario. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, unfortunately, because I've been playing Mario. Same goes for Assassin's Creed. I plan on playing both of those games, and I'll share my thoughts on both of them as I get to them. It's three huge single-player experiences in one day. It's tough to do. A lot of these things require your time, so I did want to share this story. So Wolfenstein 2 doesn't have any multiplayer, and they felt like it didn't need any multiplayer, primarily because they said it would dilute the narrative. So I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. I think that if you shoehorn a multiplayer into it, it would definitely and in their words, it would dilute the experience. I think it's great that they're doing this. So they did have a statement to say. So having a multiplayer component in the work and this work process would just dilute it all. And they went on to say the only way we can create these super narrative experiences that we can focus solely on the single player. So I'm happy to hear that, especially from the the heads of the studio. I'm definitely gonna be picking it up. And the reason I mentioned this story is because of what's happening over at Viseral with EA, which is a lot of people are saying that it has to do with, single player, the end of single player. And to a degree, I agree with that. I think that, these bigger companies are following trends, and the trend right now are your Overwatches, are your Destinies, are your Player Unknown Battlegrounds. These games are doing gangbusters, and EA loves money. Businesses love money, so they want to go where the money is. So this is a great story. The fact that Wolfenstein 2 is dedicated to the single player, and it's not just Wolfenstein 2. I mean, they're doing what Evil Within 2, Dishonored, Doom. They're not all my cup of tea, but I definitely appreciate it that they're doing it, and they're focusing so much on these single player experiences. And I hope that this stands. They've had a lot of success with these games, and people love it. And I hope that people reward them in buying these games by keeping these experiences, these single player experiences, massive, AAA scale, and not just relying on indies. Even though indies can be great, there's nothing like a good, huge single player, AAA experience. So, Visceral. As you guys know, I mean, it's been in the news. If you don't know, Viseral Studios was shut down by EA. This is the studio that's primarily in charge of, or was primarily in charge of, the single-player Star Wars game that Amy Hennig was in the lead of. It's changed a couple times. It's had different identities over the years, but ultimately, it was a business decision. They felt like this game was, and I'm paraphrasing, but they basically felt like it was going to be over $100 million investment at the end of the day, and they didn't think they can recoup that money. But there is a statement here that kind of, and I don't know if they're just reacting to what people are saying, but I guess they're kind of saying the right thing here a little bit. So this is a statement from EA EVP Patrick Sutherland. He says, "This truly isn't about the death of single-player games. I love single-player games, by the way, or story and character-driven games," says Sutherland. "Storytelling has always been part of who we are, and single-player games will, of course, continue. At the end of the day, this was a creative decision. Our job is to give people a deep enough experience and story, and it's also to push the boundaries forward. We just didn't think we were getting it quite right." So I guess you have to respect that. Ultimately, it's a business. I'm not happy to see it. I as you guys know, I'm all about not these kind of play games as services. I'm more as a game as a product, as a finished product. It has a beginning and an end. Those are the ones I usually throw my money at. There are certain exceptions, such as Stardew Valley, which I'm very deep in. It's a single player, but it's very open ended, and it feels like it goes on forever. So again, there's definitely exceptions to that, but You won't catch me playing a Destiny or an Overwatch or a PUBG. Most likely because I just don't want. I have a very addictive personality. I don't want to be caught up in this kind of almost like free. It feels like a free to play game that they charge you $60 for. That just wants to grab you and keep taking your money and money and money. And I just don't. I don't want to play a game that makes me feel that way. So that's why I feel like when I buy a game, I want that beginning and end. But I digress. Back to the story here. So basically, they're shifting to that, but it's good to know that they still have. I mean, I don't know. Mass Effect is not getting any treatment anytime soon with the failure that they've had. BioWare, which typically is the master of these single player experiences. I don't know what they're up to, but I did want to share this with you guys because with all that's out there, it's nice to know that their concentration is still going to be a single player. I don't know if they were just saying this to, cover their asses, but it's definitely good to hear from the horse's mouth.